Imagine you're standing on an airport runway, guiding planes like you've done every single day. Suddenly, a roaring engine splits the night sky, an aircraft approaches, lights flickering like a ghost. It lands smoothly, brakes screeching. But its model is decades outdated, its passengers look confused, and its flight number was declared missing almost 40 years ago. Would you believe your eyes? Tonight on Infinity, we uncover the eerie tale of Flight 914, the plane that landed 37 years late, and then vanished again. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and join the Infinity crew, where mysteries land, even if they shouldn't exist. Share this with someone who'd board this ghost flight without hesitation. Now, fasten your seatbelts. We're taking off. It was a bright, sticky morning in Caracas, Venezuela, May 21, 1992. Air traffic controller Juan de la Corte was sipping his lukewarm coffee when his radar screen flickered. A blip appeared out of nowhere, no scheduled flight, no transponder ID. Just there. He leaned forward, squinting. The skies were clear, the airport schedule was tight. No reason for a stray aircraft. "Identify yourself," he radioed, but static hissed back. Minutes later, his jaw tightened. The blip was descending, too fast, too close to ignore. On the horizon, a faint silver shape emerged, a Douglas DC-4, a model long retired from commercial use. Its propellers cut through the air like a relic. Ground crews scrambled. The tower prepared for an unscheduled landing. No flight plan. No clearance. Just a roar growing louder until wheels kissed the tarmac. As the plane rolled to a stop, workers rushed to the scene. Its fuselage bore the markings: Pan American Airways, Flight 914, an aircraft declared missing in 1955 during a routine trip from New York to Miami. The cabin windows were fogged. Inside, silhouettes shifted. The pilot's face, ashen, eyes wide, stared out as if waking from a long, strange dream. Authorities were summoned. Passengers disembarked in cautious confusion, clutching old leather briefcases, wearing mid-century suits, floral dresses. Their tickets were stamped for July 2, 1955. "Where are we?" one asked, shielding his eyes from the harsh Venezuelan sun. "Is this Miami?" The workers exchanged uneasy glances. Something was terribly wrong. Luggage tags matched records frozen in time. The plane's clock still ticked July 1955. Its fuel was full, as if it had just taken off. 4 hours, the runway became a time capsule. Officials whispered theories: espionage, mass hallucination, government experiment. No one dared utter the word on everyone's mind: time travel. Flight 914 was scheduled to leave New York's LaGuardia Airport in 1955 and land in Miami within 3 hours. 77 passengers and 4 crew members boarded that day, unaware history would erase them. According to archives, the flight vanished over the Atlantic without distress calls or radar anomalies. Search teams scoured the ocean for weeks. No debris, no signal, no survivors. Declared lost, the case faded into cold files. Families mourned. Insurance paid out. Pan Am moved on. Life, as it does, quietly buried the tragedy under newer headlines. But now, in 1992, those same passengers were alive, aged only as much as the 3-hour flight would suggest. To them, only minutes had passed. Authorities held them for questioning. "Who's the president?" one officer asked. The answer: Dwight D. Eisenhower. They had no knowledge of Kennedy, Nixon, Reagan, nothing beyond their mid-century bubble. Their currencies were outdated, their newspapers yellowed, their world gone. Yet, the aircraft's engines purred as if fresh from factory hangars. Scientists inspected the craft. Serial numbers matched the original manifest, but metal fatigue tests suggested no aging. It was as though time had wrapped around this plane and spat it out decades later. Theories mushroomed: electromagnetic vortex, Bermuda Triangle echo, Cold War experiment gone rogue. The passengers begged to go home. Some broke down when shown skyscrapers they didn't remember, or when told their families were now elderly or dead. Then, before authorities could relocate them for debriefing, something unthinkable happened. The plane requested clearance to take off again. Juan de la Corte hesitated. His orders were to keep the plane grounded, but the pilot insisted they needed to leave now. Witnesses said the captain looked terrified, muttering about not belonging here. The passengers were ushered back on board, some willingly, others in panic. As the engines roared to life, security vehicles raced to block the runway, but the Douglas DC-4 slipped past like a shadow, accelerating with an almost unnatural thrust. It lifted off, climbing into the clouds. Radio chatter filled the tower. Flight 914, identify. No response. Within minutes, radar lost it. The blip vanished. No trace, no wreckage, no sonic boom. Just empty Venezuelan air. The airport was thrown into chaos. Officials scrubbed records, confiscated photos, silenced workers. Classified, they called it. But a few kept copies of the incident report, leaking fragments to tabloids. Some called it hoax, others swore it was real. The date, the faces, the crew's names, they matched lost records from 1955. Conspiracy circles exploded. Was it a time slip? A government experiment in temporal displacement? Or did the plane return to its original timeline, unaware it ever left? To this day, no trace of that flight has been confirmed. Not in the seas, not in the archives, not in the sky. Only the legend remains, a plane that landed 37 years too late, and then left again, as if history had briefly hiccuped. Let's address the elephant in the hangar. Was this real? Mainstream historians label the story an urban legend, tracing its first media appearance to a 1980s tabloid. Yet, many details persist. Names of crew, matching flight logs, eyewitness sketches that surfaced before the story went viral. Some believe there was a seed of truth buried beneath exaggeration. Paranormal researchers point to time slips, rare phenomena where regions experience temporal dislocation. The Bermuda Triangle, the Devil's Sea, and certain polar zones have long been accused of such anomalies. Skeptics counter with simpler explanations: mistaken identity, a staged hoax for publicity, or Cold War misinformation. Pan Am's records show a Flight 914 was indeed scheduled in 1955, but official archives claim it was rerouted, not lost. Conveniently vague. What fuels the story's immortality isn't evidence, it's the haunting possibility. What if time isn't linear? What if moments can fold, and people can step across decades without aging a day? Aviation experts argue, even if a plane could reappear intact, its fuel, navigation, and pressurization wouldn't survive. But folklore isn't bound by engineering. In the absence of proof, Flight 914 lives on as a chilling what-if. It forces us to imagine the sky not as empty space, but as a shifting ocean of timelines we barely comprehend. Next time you hear a distant drone above the clouds, ask yourself, is that just a plane on schedule, or something trying to return home after half a century? If you were at that airport in 1992, would you have stepped on board Flight 914? Or would you have let it vanish into the fog of history without you? Time, like the sky, holds secrets we may never land. If this story made you rethink what's possible between departure and arrival, hit that like button and subscribe to Infinity, where lost flights, hidden cities, and forgotten worlds find a runway. Share this mystery, drop your theory in the comments. Was Flight 914 real, or just a ghost in the radar? Until the next story, keep your seatbelt fastened. History isn't always on time.